Good evening. There's a breakthrough in the unsolved murders of a young Victoria couple. More than 2 decades ago, Jay Cook and Tanya Van Cuylenborg were killed during a road trip to Seattle. Earlier this summer, the search for their killer intensified. And tonight we can tell you that investigators have solved at least one piece of the puzzle. A News reporter Shachi Curl's been following the story, and she has details now on a Canadian connection.
It was a double murder that brought two kinds of pain for the families left behind. For 23 years, John Van Cuylenborg has been haunted by the murders of his sister Tanya and her boyfriend Jay Cook. They were last seen in November 1987. The young couple took a ferry from Victoria to Seattle on an errand for Cook's dad. Their bodies were found days later. They were victims of brutal, violent killings. Adding to the horror, someone taunting the families with abusive letters about the deaths. This summer, a push to identify the killer and the author has yielded at least one answer. Washington State Police say they know who wrote the letters, and he's Canadian.
I told him right up front, listen, we know that you wrote these letters. And he said, yeah. You know, I did do it.
Investigators say tips came from this side of the border, people who knew the man who saw the TV broadcasts about the cold case. Police came here to Vancouver's downtown east side, then tracked the man back to Seattle, where the 78-year-old was nabbed in a sting operation at Seattle's public library.
He said, in fact, I knew that you guys would probably be looking for me because I saw a little clip on TV where I recognized my letters myself.
Police say the letter writer is a homeless man who wrote the notes during a particularly low point in his life. He told investigators he was sorry about what he'd done and even said that he once tried to contact the families here in Victoria to tell them that. Police won't be revealing the name of the letter writer because what he did can no longer be prosecuted as a crime.
The only thing I can think of that we could charge him with was harassment, and the statute of limitation would be up on that after 3 years.
There was still an awful lot of work to locate this individual, and so I was impressed by the amount of work that they did to get the result.
It is not the breakthrough John Van Cuylenborg has waited 2 decades for, but he says it does prove that time and publicity can yield answers long buried in people's memories.
The intended result is really to try to solve the crime, but nonetheless it's affirmation that the process has merit and has value.
The search for Jay Cook and Tanya Van Cuylenborg's murderer continues. This breakthrough only spurring police on to the next.
Shachi Curl joins us now with more on the story. Shachi, what else do we know about the man who wrote the letters, and do investigators think he's connected in any way to the killings?
Hudson, the cold case investigators now say the man who did write the letters did not kill Jay Cook and Tanya Van Cuylenborg, nor do they believe he knows who did it. They say that he grew up in the 1930s. He is 78 years old, and that was during the Great Depression. He's had a very hard life, has battled emotional and mental health problems for much of that life, and yet finding him does not lead them closer to finding the couple's killer. The victim's family and police still say, though, that if this part of the mystery can be solved, then finding the murderer is possible. And once again, they're asking anyone who may have information to contact police either here or in Washington State. Hudson.
Shachi Curl reporting. Shachi, thank you.
You're welcome.